2007, we had the opportunity to make a presentation about our Circassian case in Washington, D.C., invited by the Jamestown Foundation. Until now, the reputation against us that the United States government is using the Jamestown Foundation in order to create problems for Circassians in the Caucasus. We held a conference, the title of the conference, Circassians Past, Present, and Future. And we can prove, and at any given time, I could show anyone in this room copies of return checks that I personally, among other Circassians, we paid the Jamestown Foundation $13,000 to hold the conference for us. This is a conference done for Circassians, paid for by Circassians, and the United States government had nothing to do with this. We paid for it. The money came out of our pocket in order to tell the world what had happened to our nation. You go on websites today, you go on people who make comments about us all over the place, that we are a product of Washington, D.C. at the time when we paid, and we can prove this for our case in Washington, D.C. Here is Circassian, a small group of Circassians have the ability to present their case in the capital of one of the most important nations of the world, and we are accused of being agents. Come and figure this one out. We also have paid as Circassian, each one group of us. The Caucasus Forum, the Caucasus House in Turkey, the CCI, the ICC in New Jersey, our organization in Kafrakaman, each one Circassian group paid for its own expenses in demonstrations, in conferences, in all the activities we have done. Not a single penny from any government in this world was paid to us to hold any demonstration or any conference that we conducted in order to raise the awareness of the Circassian genocide or the problem that we have with such. It is fair also and honorable to say that when we were invited to nations like Georgia and to Estonia and to different parts, organizations like Ilya University and the Ministry of Culture, as it is a common practice when those entities hold conferences in their countries for Circassians and people other than Circassians, that they would pay the expenses of accommodating and hotels and meals. And this is, as it is today in this conference, some of the speakers their expenses are paid for by the organization that is conducting the conference. Harvard University on April 8, 2008, in Kennedy School of Government and in the Carr Institute, we were able to hold a conference in Harvard University, the finest institution of education in the entire world. We are able to present the case about Circassians. Adigas from Turkey, from the Caucasus, from Israel, from Jordan, came in to tell how the history of Circassion has been and how the future of Circassians should be. And the title of the conference was Russia and Circassia, an internal problem or an international question. And the end result of the conference was that it was an international question, and the world need to listen to us so they can understand our tragedy and our hidden genocide and the story that no one knows about Circassia. We had felt at that time that our community, consisting of about 5,000 Circassians in the state of New Jersey, had a difficult time traveling to Boston about 4 hours by car to attend the conference. So what we did is we brought in all the speakers from the Harvard conference to New Jersey, and we were able to get time in William Patterson University to duplicate the conference that we had done in Harvard University in order to make our community understand the work that we have been doing and the goals we have been trying to explain and make clear and make our people aware of. And it was a very successful conference, and the name of the conference was Embracing Circassia, Building Our Future. The future for Circassians today. The past, what had happened in the past, is important for us to learn a lesson from. But today, as we speak, as Circassians, the most single important thing that we should be concerned about is the future. And if we do not think about the future, we will lose each other and we will lose our future. May 21st, 2009, the first internationally coordinated demonstration between US, Turkey, Israel, and several other nations. Young Circassians, few Circassians would sit down, who would think alike and act alike and have the same feeling about their past and their future. And without knowing, they would coordinate with the same ideas, and we would build some type of a network that we were able to hold demonstrations in various capitals of the world, but mainly in front of the United Nations in New York City and the Russian consulate in New York City and in Istanbul, in Taksim Street and in Kafr Kama and in Amman and in different parts of the world, raising the same slogan. And these slogans were three statements we all agreed upon creating. And they were printed and displayed in Turkey, and the same thing in the United States and in Germany and in different parts of the world. And they read, "Free Circassia now. Recognize the Circassian genocide and stop the Sochi Olympics." After this, the momentum of Circassian youth awareness and rallying with us had increased so many folds over. And everybody knows that year after year, we have been gaining more and more support of young Circassians who want to see the future of Circassia. The most amazing part about this is like what I told you, that this is a true fact. The truth is on our side. Many Circassians feel the same way about our future, despite the fact that we did not communicate initially with each other. But when I talk to somebody in Turkey, when I talk to somebody in Kafr Kama, I would realize that they do have the same intention. They do have the same drive. They do have the same motivation. They wanted to see the same thing. So our role was just to coordinate this and make sure that we have built the bonds in order to create and internationalize the Circassian activism and the Circassian advocacy of a Circassian bright future. In August 19 of 2009, I guess I was very frustrated. I would grab a pen and I would ask my secretary in my office to write a letter to the Georgian ambassador in the United Nations. And I would write them a letter of one paragraph. "I am a Circassian, I am a member of the Circassian community. You are from the Caucasus, you are a member of a Caucasus nation. We're both from the Caucasus. I'd like to talk to you. I'd like to tell you what's in my mind. I'd like to see if there's any way that we could meet by ideas, by things." Send the letter, send them an email. I do have the letter. I get a response from him within 1 week, welcoming the opportunity to talk to his Kafkaz compatriot, or for Kafka's friends who are Circassians. Within a month, I get a call from some people from Georgia. He said, "Well, you know what, we would like to talk to you. Could you come down to our office and talk to us?" I go there with other Circassians. And the first question, they said, "Look, we wanted to get closer to the Circassian diaspora. We do feel very close to you. We do share with you many values and many things. We would like to talk to you, but we also would like to ask you that if there is anything we could do for you in order to show you good faith." I said, "Yeah, of course, there is. Well, first, number one, I just wanted to tell you that if you are here for us to compromise our relation with Abkhazians, Adigas and Abazas are closer than a brother to brother, and that we will not compromise, not now, not later, not any time. But if we leave the subject aside, we could talk about anything we want." So they said, "What do you want?" I said, "We want you to open your Russian military archives for us so we could take a look at them. We want you to recognize our Circassian genocide, and we want you to help us stop the Sochi Olympics. And the fact that there is an independent and democratic Georgia today, I, as a Circassian, have a hope that one day I will have a country that will be the same in the Northwest Caucasus called Circassia." All this effort was initiated by us as individuals, despite all the rumors and all the things that you say, that the Georgians are using us to do their political agenda, and what, there was no political agenda. We approached them, we asked them, they responded, we've done this. And the three things we asked them for, since then until now, anything they said to us, they fulfilled. They called us within a month. They said, "Send somebody, we're going to show the archives." We send one of our young people who is a lawyer, who knows Russian, who knows history very well, who participated in collecting the documents that we translated 4 or 5 years ago, and he spent there a month and 10 days. And he had made copies of 5,000 documents from the Russian archives left in Tbilisi, how the Russians themselves killed Circassians, written by Russian officers and Russian corresponding personnel. And we made copies of them, and we told the Georgians, we would like to submit to you a request to recognize our genocide. They said, why don't you come on over and submit it to our parliament? So we come to Turkey, we sat down, we missed the airplane. 19 of us missed the airplane going to Tbilisi. They took us to the lounge up in Istanbul airport, 19 Circassians. We sat down and we put together a document requesting the Georgian parliament to recognize the Circassian genocide in Istanbul airport. Us, Circassians, wrote down one paper. We submitted it the following day to the Georgian parliament, written in Istanbul airport by Circassians. Each and every one of them signed off on it, and we have a copy of that, and we could show it to you at any time. They took that document, and we had made it clear to them that we are looking for this to happen as soon as possible. They said, well, let's see what we can do. They put together legal, historical, and political committees to study their own archives, or the Russian archives kept by them, the legal impact that could have on the recognition of the genocide, as well as the political impact that this can create for Georgia. And it took them a while, but during that period of time, they held another conference. And that conference, they invited other scholars from different parts of the world to re-enhance the understanding and the idea of how the Circassian genocide should be recognized. During this time, we knew that there were going to be a Winter Olympics in Vancouver. 5, 6 Circassians from New Jersey, 2 from California, 1 from Canada. The ones from New Jersey left New Jersey, stayed at the airport for 24 hours in the worst snowstorm that ever happened in the history of New Jersey. They would not leave the airport, and they would fly to Vancouver, and they would land there, and the people from California came, and we demonstrated in the Vancouver Olympics. The Russian had built a house, and they called it the Sochi house. If you go on the internet and you put on YouTube, you will see that Sochi house. 8 Circassians were able to go to Vancouver Olympic Games, stand in front of the Sochi house and demonstrate and make sure that everybody coming to the Sochi house knew that if you go to Sochi in 2014, you will be celebrated on the blood and bones of Circassians here. Of course, Russians flipped out. They did not like it. They had used this on a lot of things, but who cares? I mean, we do what we do. We don't care about what other people. As long as we do it in a peaceful and in a civilized way, using the law of the land, we are not concerned with what consequences could happen to us. The Russians at that time did realize in a very clear term, as you could read in their reports, we became the enemies of the state of Russia. And we're not Russian. I could be their enemy as much as they want, because I am not Russian. I will not become Russian. I will not need their citizenship. And I will, as a Circassian, one day go to Circassia without their permission. So now they do realize that we have been a really serious Circassians about the quest of recognizing the Circassian genocide and stopping the Sochi Olympics, and all hell broke loose. Articles written about us and all these things, and of course, I mean, the ingenious Russian media and the excellent reporters writing about us that are extremists and radicals, and we are looking to disturb the balance of things in the Northwest Caucasus. They don't call it Circassia. We only call it Circassia. They call it Northwest Caucasus. They do not want to call it Circassia because they want Circassia without Circassians. If Circassians go back there, it becomes Circassia again, and that's a problem. And by the way, any statement I say here today or anything I will tell you about today, I will be able to support it by a written document, whether it's letters, documentation, statements, reports, cancel checks, payment of organizations to help us. All these things we could prove without any shadow of a doubt. As a matter of fact, any organization in the United States, including the NGO, would have to disclose its financial statements